Hi guys, so as the title suggests, today we are going to be talking about function notation, and I think that's it. I'm going to try to stop being so wordy, but I think I'm being wordy right now by telling you that. Okay, whatever. So we have some equation, y equals 5x plus 7. I just tossed those at random. Okay, we would like to use or introduce function notation to emphasize that the value of y depends on the value of x. So we say y is a function of x, but let's go ahead and use function notation. So we need to give this function a name. So you can use any letter of your liking with the exception of y or x. You can use any letter of your liking to name this function. Now, if I had to introduce a variable, like we're doing some word problem, I would say you can use any variable of your liking to represent the unknown. So we know that x is the most popular letter that's used to represent an unknown value, followed by y, followed by z. Now, when it comes to function notation, you can use any letter to name the function, but you know what the most popular letter that is used? It's actually F. Okay, F is the most popular letter that is used to name a function, followed by G, followed by H. But if you want to call it function A, go for it. Okay, so let's do this. So we are gonna rewrite this equation using function notation because we want to emphasize that the y is depends on the value of x. So we're gonna have f because that's the name that we selected, and we want to say that y is a function of x. So in this case, we want to say that f is a function of x. So we're going to go ahead using open parentheses and then tell the reader f is a function of what? F is a function of this variable. So f is a function of x, and then we close the parenthesis. Okay, and f of x equals 5x plus 7. So pretty much we're swapping out y for function notation, which is f of x. Okay, so let's go ahead, look at these things. Whatever I'm gonna say is typed up. You can look at your notes. Okay, so let's break this down. So f, what is that? That's just the name of the function. You want to call it G, go for it. H, W, I don't really care. Just don't use X or Y because those letters are taken. Okay, what's so special about X? So X is the input. Okay, what's so special about f of x? That's our output. So going back to the video when we were talking about relations, domain, and range and all that good stuff, we will say like, oh, find the domain. We will say, oh, all those input values or the x's. Then we will say find the range. So it's like, oh, all those output values are the y's. Okay, too many words. There I go again being wordy. Okay, so that's a lot. Let's go ahead and do some problems. So we're going to do 2 sets of problems, and that's it. So fun problem number 1 reads, an equation that defines y as a function of x is given. Okay, that's nice. A, solve for y in terms of x, then replace y with function notation f of x. Okay, I think I forgot to give you the actual problem. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, problem A, and then the problem that I forgot to write is y minus 2x squared equals 5. So let me go ahead and read problem A again. Sorry, the prompt. An equation that defines y as a function of x is given. Okay, I guess it's right there now. Problem A, solve for y in terms of x and then replace y with function notation f of x. Okay, so first things first. 1, solve for y in terms of x. So in short, solve for y. Then once we have done that, and then do the rest. I don't have time for and then, so let's do this. So 1, solve for y. Why? Because the problem said so. Solve for y. Let's go ahead, solve for y. So to undo the subtraction, let's go ahead to undo the subtraction by 2x squared, let's go ahead, add it to both sides, and that will leave us with y equals 2x squared plus 5. Okay, so do what you gotta do. So part 1 of this puzzle, solve for y. Done. 2, and then replace y with function notation. So function notation, we are not given the liberty to name this function however we like, so we can't use like g or h. We gotta name it f. Okay, so we're going to replace it with function notation. So we're going to name this f. So we have f of this variable. Okay, this function depends on that variable. So this is why we're going to say f of x. Okay, so f of x. And then 2, replace y with function notation. So that's it. Make a swap. I'm going to go ahead, box this. Fantastic. Part B. Find f of -4. Now, the reason why I have this little disclaimer of show all work clearly and neatly is because I know you're awesome. You can do like so much math in your head, but the thing is, when you go straight to the punchline, I get nervous. So please show me your work, okay? Even if you can do it in your head. All right. Problem B. So we want to find f of -4. Okay, so I want to know what is the value of this function when the input is -4. This is our first problem, so let's break it down. So for me, when I have to evaluate a function, I always like to start off by writing out the function itself. So I'm going to write down function f. So we have, hold on, let me move this. Okay. So we have f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 5. And then with confidence, I'm going to write down what we're asked to find. F of -4. Okay, so in short, I want to evaluate this function at -4. Okay, in semi-English, I want to know what's the value of this function when the input is -4. So what does that mean? We're pretty much going to substitute the x. We're going to substitute the x with -4. So wherever we see the x, we're going to replace it with -4. So that will give us 2 times x. But what are we doing to the x's? We're going to swap them out for -4s. Okay, so we have 2 times the square of x. So it'll be 2 times the square of -4. And then we do plus 5. Okay, so at this point, let's go ahead, plug and chug. Okay, I mean simplify. The square of -4, help me out, is 16. Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, take our time. Order of operations, product of 2 and 16 is 32, and then for the grand finale, that will give us 37. So to answer the question, what is f of -4? So when the input is -4, what is the value of this function? So the value of this function, or the output, is 37. Okay, I think that's it for this set. We're gonna do one more set, and then that will be our day. So hopefully we can be done in about 10 minutes. Okay. Fun problem number 2 reads, given f of x equals -3x plus 4 and g of x equals -x squared plus 3x minus 2, find the following. Okay, so we have two functions. I want to point out that it doesn't say, oh, given f of x equals this and another f of x equals that. No, when we have more than one function, then we kind of need to give them like a different name. We don't want like identical twins right here. No, so this one is, the name of this function is f, the name of this function is g. Okay, so let's do this. The problems are not typed. Let's go ahead, do these one at a time. So problem A, I'm gonna go ahead, go out of script. Okay, so I want to find f of 5. So I want to know what is the value of this function when the input is 5. So if you want to go straight to, oh yeah, substitute a 5 for x, go for it. But I have a tendency to put the numbers in the wrong place. So what am I going to do? I'm going to write down the function first. So we have f of x equals -3x plus 4. Then with confidence, I'm going to rewrite what I'm asked to find, f of 5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to substitute a 5 wherever we see an input of x. Okay, so that will give us -3 times x, which we're swapping out for 5, plus 4. That's it. We nailed it. Go ahead, bust out your order of operations and take it from there. Product of -3 and 5 is -15, and if my eyes don't fail me, the sum is -11. Fantastic. So we're going to do a total of 4 problems, and that'll be our day. Problem B, where am I? So let's go ahead, give G some love, and we want to find G of -3. So I want to know what is the value of this function when the input is -3. So like in English, substitute a -3 for this variable. Okay, so same speech. For me, it's really hard to plug and chug, so I will always write down the function first, and then I'll write down what I'm asked to find. So we want to find G of -3. Okay, so we are going to substitute a -3 for the input of x. So we got x in more than one place. So let's do this carefully. So we have a negative sign followed by the square of x. Value of x is -3. And then we are asked to square it. Fantastic. Oh, I forgot to put it in red. My mistake. Keep it going. Plus 3 times x, and the input should be -3. So at this point, it's like, I can breathe. Finally, we just gotta keep her cool, do order of operations. Square of -3 is 9, but we want its opposite, or in English, square it and then bring down the negative. Product, I smeared it. Product of 3 and -3 is -9. And I cannot do too many things in my head, so sorry if I have too many steps. The sum of -9 and -9 is -18. And when we keep our cool, that difference will give us -20. Fantastic. All right, let's go ahead, toss in a spicier problem. I think you're a pro right now. What if I asked you to find, I keep forgetting to write the word find f of -x. It's like, that's pretty spicy. It is. What happened to f of some number? Welcome to algebra. Okay, so it's okay. Don't panic. So first, let's start off with spitting out function f. So we have f of x is equal to -3x plus 4. And you know my speech. I'm going to go ahead and write down the function that we're going to use. And then with confidence, I'm going to write down what we're asked to find. F of -x. So in mathematics, sometimes we have to substitute an expression for a variable instead of a number. So you'll do that in later courses. Why don't we just start with the warm-up now? And then there's a reason for it. So we're going to substitute the expression of -x for the input of x. So let's do this. So that will give us -3 times whatever x is, and in this case we're swapping it out for -x, and then we're going to write down the rest of the expression. Okay, plus 4. Take your time, do what you gotta do. Product of -3 and -x will give us 3x, and last time I checked, 3x and 4 are not like terms, so we're good. Okay, for the grand finale, because I'm trying to get you out of here quick. Problem D, we want to find, where am I? F of 3n minus 2. Oh, that's even spicier. It should be, because it's D, not A. So you know my speech. I'm going to first write out the function that we're going to use, and then with confidence, I'm going to write down the problem that we actually have to do. So function f, so we have f of x. What's the problem? I'm copy from right here. It's -3x plus 4. What do we want to find? We want to find f of 3n minus 2. It is what it is. Okay, so if you felt comfortable, let me zoom out. If you felt comfortable doing problem A and problem B, the strategy for problem D is no different. Please don't let this variable or this expression throw you off. You got this. Okay. So in this case, to find f of this, or f of 3n minus 2, we are going to substitute the entire 3n minus 2 for the input of x. Okay, so let's do this. So that will give us -3 times the input of x, which is going to be 3n minus 2. Let's bring down the rest of this function. Do what you gotta do to simplify this expression. Okay, product of -3 and 3n will give us -9n. Product of -3 and -2 is 6. Take your time, combine like terms. There's only one variable term, and the sum of the constant terms is 10. So last time I checked, -9n and +10 are not like terms, so we're good. Okay guys, I think that's it. Gracias.